It was really important for me to make a movie that addressed important issues like sexism and campus sexual politics, but also was really fun to watch and was filled with thrills and chills and could entertain an audience as much as make them think.
Bullshit! So I just sat down and watched the Black Christmas remake, and it was worse than fucking cancer! First thing I want to get out of the way is that, why is this even rated PG-13 in the first place? Does Hollywood even know that PG-13 remakes of R-rated properties don't turn a profit at the box office? Now initially this film was going to be rated R, but surprising abso-fucking-lutely no one, it didn't test very well with audiences. So the creative hacks at Universal trimmed the movie down to a PG-13 to reach a wider audience. Another problem I have with this new Black Christmas remake is that it has absolutely no connection to the original source material apart from the same title. There aren't even any references alluding to the original film. The only thematic similarities between this and the 1974 original is that both films take place in a sorority house during Christmas. So the movie begins with a girl named Lindsay walking home while talking to her friend on the phone, and her friend got her a vibrator as a gift because she quote-unquote don't need no man.
Oh my god. You told me yours disappeared. And every girl needs a little self-care. Now you'll never need a man.
We literally just started the movie and already it's cramming its feminist message down our throat. So Lindsay starts receiving harassing text messages from someone claiming to be Calvin Hawthorne, the founder of Hawthorne College, where the movie is set. She thinks it's just some bearded white guy stalking her, but it turns out to be a false alarm. Literally 5 seconds later, we get a jump scare and we finally see the real killer. This character is literally the dumbest person ever. She doesn't even try to defend herself at all. She knocks on the door, and when the killer answers it, she doesn't even bother running away, and just like that, she just allows herself to be killed. This is one of the most gutless, anticlimactic deaths I've ever seen in a horror movie. Oh, and you needn't worry about Lindsay because she's never brought up again until 40 minutes into the movie. And even then, she doesn't really contribute to anything plot-wise. What a way to start a movie, introducing a character that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the plot. Take this entire opening out and it wouldn't impact the movie in any way. We are now introduced to our main protagonist, Riley. There's actually a subplot involving her where she was sexually assaulted by a guy in a fraternity, but no one believes her. Once we are introduced to our main characters, we discover that they are quite unlikable. Riley's roommate literally busts in the room, proclaiming that she needs a diva cup, and is wearing a shirt that states, "Your monologue is boring me," in bold letters. Now, in case it wasn't obvious, these characters are feminists. We then cut to a scene where an SJW student tries to get the professor fired for teaching them literature she finds offensive. The dialogue in this scene is super in your face, from the professor referencing the amount of white male authors to the SJW student going on about
the ruthless misogyny of higher education.
It's so cringy that it isn't even funny. And by the way, the SJW character goes by the name of Chris, one of Riley's dim-witted friends. Chris is a caricature of your average SJW. She never shuts up about racism or misogyny.
Calvin Hawthorne was a racist and a sexist. All I did was ask why his syllabus has no women on it, queer people on it, trans people on it, people of color on it. You guys don't want to fight the good fight. You don't want to confront the white supremacist patriarchy head on.
I'm sorry. I didn't know what we were dealing with. Guys, we're dealing with a special snowflake.
Then we are introduced to a nerdy guy named Landon, who is the love interest for Riley in the film. He is one of the biggest simps in film history.
Sorry for the wait.
No worries, I don't mind waiting. Sorry, that was really... Thank you.
Simp.
In the next scene, Riley stumbles across a cult initiation in the frat house, and there's some black goo coming out of Calvin Hawthorne's statue head that apparently turns men into raging psychotic douchebags, because fuck the patriarchy, right? First of all, how the fuck does this make any logical sense? How can some black goo coming out of a statue that isn't at all religious turn you into a psychotic killer? Fucking Scooby-Doo is more logical than this shit. Second, this has to be the single most stupid cult in any movie. If you don't want people to know what you're up to, then why didn't you think to lock the goddamn door? In the next scene, Riley gets up the courage and performs with her friends to fill in for Helena, and all the girls sing a stunning and brave rendition of Up on the Housetop, because wham and empowerment, I guess. Also, just in case you needed another reminder that this is a feminist movie.
Up in the rat house, shit went down, and I'm telling everyone in town. I did.
We then cut to a scene where Helena is packing up for Christmas break and brushing her teeth, when suddenly she hears a strange noise and checks outside the door, when lo and behold, one of the cult members is behind her, and we get another jump scare. What could have happened to her, I wonder? We then get a flashback of Riley being sexually assaulted by one of the frat boys. Then Riley's dumb roommate goes looking for her cat, and she gets strangled by one of the cult members. Finally, a mercy killing. And then Riley receives a call from someone with no caller ID. You'd think this is a nod to the original 1974 version, right? But no, it's just a fucking cock tease. It turns out to be a phone call from Helena's mom. What rational person doesn't have any kind of caller ID these days? Even if you don't have the person you're calling on your phone, the screen at least shows the number calling and the location the call is coming from. And why does Riley keep allowing herself to receive harassing texts? Seriously, has she never heard of a block button? Later on, Riley bumps into her professor and discovers that he has a list of all the girls in her sorority. What could he be hiding, I wonder? It can't be because he's the cult leader and he's targeting Riley's sorority, can it? Then Riley's professor tells her that Chris posted a video of the musical number she did the night before, which garnered over 30,000 views overnight, and she flips her shit. How would a video of 4 college sorority sisters singing off beat garner over 30,000 views overnight? I'm lucky if I can even get 1,000 views in a week. Then Jesse goes upstairs to find some Christmas lights and, well, I'll let you guess what happens here.
Do Christmas lights expire?
Yes, you fucking dumbass. Just like how a light bulb dies after it's been used for a certain amount of time. And Christmas lights are tiny light bulbs. Good God, fuck this movie. And then, after an argument with Marty's boyfriend, all the girls receive a threatening text from a cult member simultaneously, and then they're attacked with a bow and arrows. And also, one of the girls got hit in the leg, and they ditched their phones when they went to hide. So Chris sends Riley to go get them while she tends to Marty's wound. Then douchebag boyfriend comes back looking for Marty, and the cult member shoots an arrow in his eye and tries to kiss Riley under the mistletoe, and then pins her down on the floor, and she stabs the cult member in the neck with car keys. As the other girls come to Riley's aid, another cult member shows up and kills Marty. Thank God. Now I'm going to try to keep the rest of my summary as short as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. So you know that nerdy guy who's been simping for Riley the entire movie? Well, he gets recruited by the fraternity cult, and he accepts because this movie really doesn't want you to forget its anti-male agenda. Then Riley goes into the frat house and finds Helena, and she is then knocked out. This is where we find out who the real cult leader is and what their motivation is. And yep, I was right. It was the professor the whole time. And the cult's whole motivation is totally cartoonish. So they're killing off these girls so they can prosper in life and don't have to deal with the scrutiny of a false accusation. Oh, and also they turn Helena into a trad wife. Shortly after, one of the cult members snaps Helena's neck, then chokes Riley, and Chris, along with another sorority, comes to the rescue and beats the living shit out of the cult. Nerdy guy ditches the cult in the last minute and the sorority escapes. And that's the whole batshit plot of Black Christmas 2019, as accurately as I could describe it. This was abso-fucking-lutely atrocious. I expected disastrous, but this was a catastrophe of biblical proportions. The cinematography is just flat and lifeless, just like a made-for-TV movie. Nearly every shot zooms in for no fucking reason. It flows like it was edited by a 10-year-old who's seen nothing but Michael Bay movies on loop. The action scenes, because apparently Black Christmas needed action scenes in it, are incomprehensible. and the horror is akin to a whimper. The death scenes are bloodless and leave absolutely no impact. And here's a message to any Blumhouse hack possibly watching this video. Stop using fucking jump scares! Using a jump scare every 15 goddamn minutes doesn't make your movie any scarier. If anything, it's fucking obnoxious. Now, there's nothing wrong with using jump scares. If used properly, they can be very effective, like in The Sixth Sense and The Ring. But the problem with Blumhouse is that they use the jump scares so frequently and so improperly that they become so obnoxious. Now let's address the cult in this film. Why would you reveal the cult in the first act of the movie? It feels like such a missed opportunity because it would have been an interesting surprise later on in the film. Now let's compare the cult to the killer from the original film, Billy. We never get a clear glimpse of him throughout the film, and even when we do get a glimpse of him, we only see his eye. By not revealing his identity, it makes him a much more horrifying and unsettling character. We're also shown many scenes through his point of view. The original is also the earliest example of POV shots used in a horror film, which inspired the POV shots in Halloween and Friday the 13th. Now let's talk about the characters. Our main character is a victim of sexual assault, but the film doesn't really do anything with this entire plot point and actually blames her for not acting sooner to stop the problem and making it essentially her fault. All the other characters have their own toxic hive mind going on. The female characters all hate men and just yell about it for the entire film, without even letting anyone have a real conversation about why they feel this way. And every male character is either portrayed as a douchebag, simp, or an incompetent asshole. The original film did the female camaraderie aspect much better. You felt that the characters in that film were actually friends and had personalities that made them unique. Now it's time to address the elephant in the room, the message. When people negatively respond to films like this, you'll usually get responses like, "Oh, you just don't like strong female characters in movies," or "Horror's always been political." First of all, there are plenty of strong, well-written female characters, especially in the horror genre. Laurie Strode, Nancy Thompson, Mia Allen, Sidney Prescott, and Ellen Ripley, to name a few. Second, the problem isn't the politics or the message, it's how the message is being presented. The original 1974 version was actually quite progressive for its time. It explored bleak material like child murder, abortion, abusive relationships, and sexually charged murders around Christmas time. This new version, on the other hand, shoves its political message so far down your throat that it becomes a chore to sit through.
Break us, and you only break yourselves.
We will never be broken.
No one wants to be lectured while watching a movie. This is why films like Charlie's Angels and Terminator Dark Fate tanked at the box office. It so desperately wants to be liked, to be revolutionary, and tick every box of our current political situation. It's so eager to please one group of people and piss off another that it just ends up missing the mark completely. It muddles its metaphors, makes everything super heavy-handed, and kneecaps the dialogue trying to crowbar every inch of social commentary it can into itself. And again, why is it being called Black Christmas? It clearly has no connections to the original version or the 2006 remake. It's just titled that to cash in on the Black Christmas brand name. So, it needs a new title. I got it. How about we call it Christmas Time Murders on Misandrist Row? Now, I like the sound of that. All in all, this is a movie that never should have been made. It fails at everything it tries to do. It fails as a horror movie, fails as a slasher, fails as a supernatural movie, and fails miserably as a remake. Sure, the 2006 remake wasn't exactly good either, but at least it had some fucking awesome kills. This is, without a doubt, the worst movie ever made, and it should be avoided just like the fucking plague.